In that sense. Anime time! Anime! Best anime. Oh, the best anime. Everyone knows best animes. Everyone knows the best anime. It's gonna be the Climber anime. It's gonna be the it's gonna be the anime where everyone is ripped, where everyone is like, look at my abs. That is clearly the anime we are waiting for. Clearly. That is clearly the anime we're waiting for, right? Come on, let me say it. Anyway, so hello everyone, Modern Hit Course, time for the guide, right? The best anime coming next season, right? What they want to watch, we're going to react to, we're going to review to. But also just generally talking about animes, right? So, of course, without further ado, the best anime season is clearly climbing anime. Look at her abs! Look at her abs! I mean, come on, like that's a battle culture anime. I'm just saying, right? It's like an anime, and they're climbing, right? And they're getting all these poses, and they're like, and you see all their muscles are like crazy. I mean, it's the next Dumble anime, right? It's clearly the best anime season. No, I'm just kidding. But actually, it's good. But, no. Asir Pasha. This is the best anime season. Almost perfectly fitting in there. But no, yeah, of course. Before we go into the list, right? What we're gonna do is I'm gonna go into the list, live chart. We're gonna go over, of course, popular animes, right? We're gonna go down the list and talking about, the animes, which one is good, which one is bad, and so on. Typical guide, right? But I'll say immediately here, right? Golden Kamuy. It is by far the best anime season. I would say easily. Okay, so I did, spoilers, but if you check out my top 10 anime 18, I think Golden Kamuy is the best anime that year, right? Like, it's the best anime of 18, easily in my opinion. I think Place for the Universe is number 2, but I think Golden Kamuy is just like a masterpiece. It's an insanely good anime. It's also underrated, or underwatched, probably more than underrated, like crazy though. So again, that's the anime. Talk about more later when we get into the list, but I think easily, for me at least, obviously if the time into that, easily for me, Golden Kamuy season 3 is the anime I'm waiting for the most. I think it's gonna be the best anime next season. I think it's just a masterpiece, season 1 and 2 there. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, absolutely, I recommend this show. It is the best shit ever. Anyway, without further ado, let's talk about the anime. So, as I mentioned, then we're gonna go down like in popularity, right? So this is the anime now. Then that is of course the most popular right now, which is the Fire Force, right? So of course Fire Force is already airing though. But I'm watching it. I don't have to do it anymore. But I'm watching it. And I will say this thing before we go down. I won't talk too much about ongoing animes, right? But I think the Fire Force season 2, it is definitely a lot better than season 1. I think it gets much more interesting now when you're actually, revealing. You're going into the different backstories, a little about Amaterasu and the keys, and I won't spoil it here, but I just think that actually, I think it's a lot better now. Actually, I think it's much more interesting now when we're on those different characters. It's just a lot more interesting, in my opinion. It's vastly more interesting, actually. I would say so than the previous season 1. I think that's fair to say. But anyway, let's go down. So. Then we have of course Dan Manshai, which I'm gonna watch because I've seen season 1 and 2, right? It's obviously who's gonna get Belkun's use. So I would say this thing. I think season 2 was still pretty good, but man, without spoiling too much, season 2 if you've seen it, it is a huge amount of episodes where the Amazon ladies are trying to get Belkun's first time. Yeah, it is like. It is Belkun's first time now. Yeah, it is a weird season 2 in that sense. It is incredibly a lot about Amazon ladies, especially that Toad one trying to get with Belkun, and also the hot one, Asha and so on. I mean, they're all very attractive though, except the Toad one, but it's so weird season. But he clearly here, I haven't read the source, right, but clearly here's a new elf girl or something, so another horror member for Bell, right, is like, I don't know, undead elf or something, dark elf or something, and Hestia is gonna be like, god damn it, it's my Belkun. But yeah, it's a pretty good anime, right, about a guy in, I'm sorry, I guess people haven't seen it, but I assume people have seen it, but Dan Manshai is basically a guy adventuring in like a dungeon, and he's more or less like a game world, but he isn't isekai, right? He's born in this world. It's not isekai, but it basically follows, gaming. You have levels and spells. It follows like a video game rules, right? I think that's a good, especially with Dan Manshai. And of course, all the girls want him. It's like a harem, and he's trying to avoid his harem and so on. But anyway, season 2 of Irregular, called Magic School, right? I'm considering it. This aired way before 2014, right? Yeah. So a long break there between. How is this anime? Season 2 as well. Then it's an anime when they all fight. Everyone has like power. This is, I would say, like it's like My Academia, but it's in that similar vein, right? Where everyone goes to school, everyone has a power. It's more indirect fighting. It's not really like, well, there are bad guys, but I mean, it's not like it's more like an open battle royale kind of ish. it's a bad way to say it probably, but you know what I mean. Like everyone has a fighting power and they can do it so on. Whatever. It's another season 2. Same thing, right? Haikyuu also season 2. It's actually like season 7 or something. So I think Haikyuu, we all know what's about. It's the best volleyball anime ever. It's a sport anime, right? It's shonen. They're fighting. I mean, one of my favorite animes, right? I love Haikyuu. I think last season, part 1 here was a little weak. It had too much just, oh, everyone hates me, I need to train more and so on. So I'm looking forward to this season here because now they're more at the tournament, right? The tournament arc last season was a little bit just like we are training for 10 episodes. Now it's actually the tournament arc and the Ryoga and girlfriend and so on. That's awesome. So anyway, let's go on. The new animes. The Pretender, already seen it. Yeah, it started airing 6 months ago. It's an anime about, you know, heist, right? It's a heist anime. Yeah, they're doing heist. If you haven't seen it, they're doing like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, pretend to be this thing, and we're gonna sell some stuff, and then we're gonna trick them to buy money, or we're gonna, you know, do some Arc 2 is like the fly airplanes, right? We're gonna pretend to be this airplane pilot and rob these rich people and so on. So it's kind of like a Robin Hood-ish, you know, mystical Ninja Goemon kind of, you know, good thieves, right? Thieves that take money from bad people, and then they keep the money, but they donate a few of that money to poor people and so on. So they're kind of like good thief guys, right? Yeah, whatever, you know, heist guys, whatever. Also, you know, season 2. Let's go on. Noblesse. I'm considering it. Okay, so what do you guys think? Noblesse. No, I think we're kind of down to new animes here. This is yet another, yet another webtoon anime. So what do you guys think? Because this I feel now is like when you're gonna get into the new animes, right? How would you say, right? So Noblesse is like Pretty Boy Vampire, right? So it's like, you know, Pretty Boy Vampire. It's kind of like that, right? It is, when you look at it, it gives me that Twilight vibe, right? Like we have these pretty boys, you know. It's not the you know, Golden Kamuy with big stories. It is not the, you know, muscular girls. It's more like, you know, it's the opposite, right? It's a pretty, you know, well dressed vampire boys that has fights and so on. So it feels very much like that. But it might be good, right? It's a bit in a webtoon. I haven't read it, so I can't say too much about that. It is yet another Crunchyroll webtoon thing, so it's gonna air, I think, first Crunchyroll and then it's gonna air on Japanese TV, which will be interesting. So it feels, in my opinion, aimed at, you know, the more the Western audience. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, I'm thinking that my sister, you know, Twilight, my little sister, baby sister, yeah, she likes, you know, Twilight and so on. That's what I'm thinking when I see no. Honestly, I'm like, I see, it's a Pretty Boy Vampire. Is it also maybe like Yaoi or something? That's what I'm thinking, right? A little bit in my head, I'm like, Pretty Boys, yes, I see where we're going here. Anyway, next show, which I think looking forward to a lot, right? Of course, Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Which I have, of course, on my little folder here, excellent folder, yeah, popping up there, yeah. Where's my collection of images, right? Yeah, so here, bam, let's throw it out there, right? Jujutsu Kaisen, new upcoming shonen show, right? So this, I think, is going to be one of the best shows next season. Might be the best show next season, right? I'm quite hyped about it. I won't talk too much, I don't spoil, right? But you know, it's shonen, right? They're fighting and so on. No, but it's more like, I mean, I don't want to say it's like Tokyo Ghoul something like that, but I think it's more in that, you know, what's called like body modification, you know, yeah, Parasite and so on. It's more like that, right? They're fighting, but their fighting powers is a little bit, you know, like, oh, I can transform my hand or I can turn into a monster. It's more like that, right? Little horror, supernatural fightings, but otherwise, of course, it's a shonen, right? And you know, they have to survive bad guys and so on, right? So I think it's gonna be. Definitely probably the best shonen by a mile, right, next season. If you like, you know, I don't know, Demon Slayer or whatever you're gonna compare it to, right? But something like that, right? A little more. Demon Slayer might be, in my opinion, maybe the closest thing. But I feel it's more like that, more than, I don't know, One Piece of that. But it's clearly in that kind of genre, right? Supernatural shonen, right? So similar to, I think, Demon Slayer from like a premise aspect, I suppose. But yeah, this is probably gonna be one of my. Absolutely, I think it's going to be one of the best shows I had in thumbnail there. Definitely probably top 5 at least next season, I think. I think it feels pretty. I feel pretty confident in that it's going to be one of the best shows. Anyway, let's go on. And then we have this show, right? I know you talked about it. So this is the Romeo and Julia. Yeah, this is this kind of show, right? This is the Romeo and Julia show. I say Demon Slayer is a little Bleach. I don't know. There's a weird angle on it. I mean, obviously here's my Bleach poster, right? It's up here. Yeah, that's Hitsuyas leg there. I have to address that. Demon Slayer on Bleach, I don't think they're very similar, honestly. I don't think they're very similar. I think the premise is very, very different in Demon Slayer and Bleach. You know, the main character in Bleach has his power rights from his family, goes to save a girl, I think a sister. I don't think it's that similar at all, actually, honestly. I mean, it's shonen, they're fighting a lot, but I don't think the fights are similar either, for that matter. And of course, everything is a power twist in Bleach. So everyone's like, I'm actually half hollow, or I have a triple bankai. So I don't think Demon Slayer has that power twist thing, but whatever. Okay, so Kimi to Boku no Seiga no Senju Aruwa Sekai ga Haimaru Seisen. It's Romeo and Julia. Yeah, this is the next anime. Romeo and Julia, right? It's how would I say it? It's this classic thing, right? To have a pretty boy and a pretty girl, right? Bishonen and Bishoujo, and they're fighting, and they're doing this. Yeah, it's a very long name. It's a light novel. Yeah, but it's a light novel, so you can have a long name, right? So basically, right, there are two people. They have this war. You can see the image here, right? They have this they're both controlling their armies or whatever, right? And they're from different countries. But of course, they're gonna fall in love with each other, right? So they have this weird future war, and then they're gonna, fall madly in love, right? Kinda, right? And then they have to be, oh, I love her, but I can't admit it because she's my arch enemy, and we have to defeat her for my country. But I actually just wanna be with her, and she's like, oh, I like this guy. So it's much of that, right? So I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, you've seen the story before. It's very Romeo and Juliet, right? I think that's kind of what you think about Shakespearean storytelling. But instead of being like we have each, the bigger families, right, forcing them to be apart like in Romeo and Juliet, here instead they're both like basically the war leader of their shonen empire, basically. So they're gonna fight, right? So it's more like they have a conflict constantly. But I haven't seen it, but I suppose it's a conflict more, and then also being in love. So it's a little more, I would say like that, right? I think so. But probably one of the better shows next season, I think. I don't know, but I think it's an interesting show, right? But at the same time, I want to say here, I think that it's probably kind of like, it's probably something you've seen before, right? It's probably something you've seen before. I feel that is, I feel that's probably, where I would say right there, like you've seen it before, probably, right? Probably. But whatever. Let's go on. So the next show, it's another show I like. So it's Tonikaku Kawaii, which is basically then romance. So this show I kind of like because I have an image here where I think about it immediately. So I'm an old man, okay? If you didn't know, right? Oh, yeah, that's the wrong, that's the wrong thing. Listen, if you didn't know, right? I'm an old man. So when I grew up as a kid, I loved this TV show called Dharma and Greg, right? Also done by Chuck Lawson, not like Big Bang Theory and so on, right? So Dharma and Greg is about two very different people getting married the first day they meet, right? So they meet one day, get married the same day, right? And then he's a hippie and he's like a rich boy, and the parents hate each other, but they love each other, so on, right? So anyway, this new anime then, coincident, sounds somewhat similar. I kind of like the trailer, yes. So Tonikaku Kawaii, I mentioned then, has kind of the similar premise, right? Probably less conflict in parents, but two people, they get married immediately, right? It's a rom-com, right? They're gonna live together, whatever, right? And they get married the same day they meet, right? So yeah, he falls in love with the girl and asks her out, and she's like, sure, I can date you if you marry me, and then you're gonna marry, right? So it's like, I think this will probably be one of my favorite shows, because I like rom-com, right? I like the romance comedy, I think it's fun. So this is probably one of my top shows, actually, honestly. But as I mentioned, though, I loved like Dharma and Greg as a kid, right? So I always liked rom-com. So I also like live action rom-com, right? So it's probably a show for me, right? Anyway, then we have God Knows Everything. So who doesn't love a God that knows everything, right? Who doesn't love an annoying God, right? So I'm thinking about. So in this show then, it's about a guy that has how would I say it, right? He has a goddess, and she's appears in his life, and she's annoying. She's not better than Aqua, but but basically, yeah, like he has this all-knowing god, and she's all annoying, and he's just like, oh god damn it, So it seems similar to me to something like Konosuba, right, or maybe even the Restart and so on, right? Something like that. It's a original show. It's PA Works though, and PA Works has failed me every time. So I'll say one thing: it is PA Works, right? And you know how much I hate to be disappointed with PA Works. Because every time PA Works to show, last year when I did this, same thing, I get the rant of PA Works. So every goddamn time, PA Works pulls me in with an interesting plot, with like Fairy Gone, or, Colorful World, or Sirius the Jaeger, and so on. They always pull me in with the trailers, and then I watch the anime, and then after a few years I'm like, this is the crap! I don't know, but like, oh man, PA Works, every time, guys, they pull me in with like a decent trailer, like, interesting. I like the premise, right? But the execution is never good. They never do good execution. They always have like a good premise, and they never do good execution. Oh my god, like now we have, Appa the Ranma. Same thing, it's like, oh, are we gonna race in a racing anime? No, we're gonna have some weird ass bad backstory for like 5 episodes. Then we finally race. It's like, why are we gonna race? I just wanna see the damn race. Oh my god, Sirius the Jaeger, great action. Oh, I love the choreography, great action. Storytelling, horrible, to some extent. Some parts are good, but man, and don't get started on Colorful World. Colorful World, I loved it the first like 4 episodes, and the ending was just it was just such a Monday ending, everyone. I've talked about Colorful World a lot before, but Colorful World was like, it felt like they should have like 2-3 more episodes. They just kind of episode 12, it's over. Yeah, they kind of like they did not end it. They were like, oh, share it to the future or something. But I say it again. Do not watch Colorful World, because I'm so disappointed, because it's a time traveling thing, right? And when the girl goes back to her life again in the future, she never ever meets anyone she met in the past. Doesn't make any sense. It ends with her not ever talking to anyone she met in the past, nor their grandkids, which is her age. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. That's why Colorful World is one of my most disappointing anime ever. So PA Works, this anime, yeah, it screams Aqua, right? It screams Aqua, the premise wise, but man, I'm saying I'm gonna watch it, but maybe I'm gonna be like disappointed. Okay, anyway, let's go on. God, PA Works almost makes me angry. So this feels. Look at the image. This is isekai trash. This is more Aqua. Yeah, this is one other isekai trash. Just read the premise here. Okay, so this is this is Kamitachi na Hirogarata Otoko, right? So Otoko man. So yeah. So 13. Premise with me. Okay, 39-year-old, Takebachi, whatever his age, 39. He dies, right, from blood losing, sneezing. He is then reincarnated as an 8-year-old boy. So it is, I'm Maho grandson, and this screams isekai trash to me. Like, this screams isekai trash. Like, this could be, any other. God, my damn streaming. Why can't I repeat it? This screams isekai trash. It screams isekai trash. This could be isekai trash. Like, come on. I can do this thing, right? I can do this thing here. It's this anime. I can just replace the image and put another image. Oh, it's definitely horror. It's definitely horror. Look at the image here. It's a cat girl. It's some kind of cleric girl. Like, come on, it's clearly a horror. It's gonna have like 4 or 5 cute girls around him. There's some boys there too, and behind him is an old man, right? Like some experienced grandfather, like maybe a grandfather with magic, right? And then over here is some kind of other grandfather and some god or something that's pouring up. But yeah, this anime, it's. I'm gonna watch it, right? We're gonna watch it. We're gonna analyze it, right? But it screams generic isekai. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's amazing. Maybe it's better than Konosuba, right? Maybe it's Cautious Hero. Who knows? Maybe it's that level, or maybe it's like Kenya no Mago, or like Isekai Sheet Magician, or the list is long, right? The list is long of these quite generic isekais, right? It seems to be. It really sounds, from a premise wise, at least the premise, but the 8-year-old thing reminds me immediately of 8 son, right? 8 son, yeah, like he's a kid, right? An old, 40-year-old man becoming an 8-year-old boy with skills. But yeah, it screams isekai. And maybe cat girl, and cute cat girl, cute cleric girl from like Goblin Slayer, cute goddess lady, milf up in the sky, right? And I like this guy to be behind him. This is like probably his grandfather. teaches him magic, right? Like the gray-haired man, this is like his master, right? Like teaching spells. You have a point. I don't know. I mean, we're gonna watch it, see what happens, but I'm very much like, oh yeah, it's another one. It's another one. So again, let's do the thing again. Okay, yes, again, this could be an isekai. This actually looks better in my opinion though than the other one, but this is another one. So 100 Man no Inichi no Ue ni Oreva Tateiro. So another one, 9th grader. So this guy at least is not a man, right? He's a 9th grader. So I guess that's 15. I guess he's in Japan. If I'm wrong, but yeah, this is a 9th grader, right? He goes into some isekai thing, and then he gets powers and he fights. And there's some cute, witch girl, and there's some cute warrior girl, and they're probably gonna fall in love with him. And there's some other cute, I don't know what she's supposed to be, but she's like, a cute girl, and also probably be fall in love with him. And come on, it's gonna be some kind of harem. But yeah, this new anime isekai trash probably. I would say one thing though, which I find is very, very generic with this show. I mean, again, this might be a good anime, but it just sounds like any other anime we ever seen, right? I think that this anime here, why it sounds so generic too, in my opinion, is that read first text here, right? He's a 9th grader with no friends, no clubs and so on, right? That's why I think it also sounds very, very isekai trash, because it's a self-insert, here's an author. This is typically, the loser without no friends, right? It's the same in almost every isekai, like Konosuba 2. Oh, this guy has no friends, and he meets two cute females, and then is smashed in the harem and so on. But anyway, let's go on, because here's an anime that I really want to see, right? When They Cry, okay? When They Cry. So, how would I explain this show without spoiling? Higurashi no Naka Koroni. So Higurashi is this franchise when they have really, really horrible shows. Okay, so it is one of these. It's hard to explain if you've ever seen When They Cry shows, but they are horrible. Okay, and I don't mean horrible as in, of course, bad. Right? I mean horrible as in like you're crying because they're so, it's so horrible, right? So When They Cry are this franchise. They have a little different ones, like the other one, the one. But my favorite one with the cast, the family at the house and so on, right? The whole with Beatrice and so on. When They Cry, Umineko When They Cry, yeah. So Umineko is what's it English? Wingull, the bird, yeah. But anyway, yeah. So When They Cry are these like supernatural, sociological things that people get killed and they get maimed, and so basically it looks all cute, right? It looks all cute, but then you're gonna see the girls being, dismembered, and you're gonna have the main character getting, probably killed, and it's kind of like it's this kind of show. It's hard to explain without spoiling it, right? But if you've seen the order When They Cry, you kind of get what I mean. This is like a remake of another one, 2020, and yeah, it's just crazy. It's one of the most brutal animes ever. Like it looks like it says on text, like, it looks like a nice isolated town with cute girls, and it looks all happy, but there's a mystery, the dark secrets. So it definitely has a premise, right? Everyone's living in some kind of remote little village, and it looks all fine, but it's not, right? It's same with Umineko When They Cry. Everyone gets to this mansion with their family, and it looks all fine, and then episode 5 or 6, the worst scene is when the mother in Umineko, when she beats up her daughter, takes her teddy bear, rips it apart, and like tosses it at her and screams to her like, "I hate you, wish you never born." That kind of best mom and so on. That's what you expect in the Umineko show. It's hard not to spoil here, but yeah, they're crazy. Okay, they're crazy. Like they are, they're crazy. Like they're simply insane. But anyway, let's go on. But Umineko, yeah, definitely recommend watching that show. If you want to be, crying and be afraid and have mental scars and so on, right? And, but yeah, I still very much remember Umineko When They Cry. Anyway, this is a show I think looks really good. Okay, I really like the show. I have a thumbnail. So yeah, the journey, the Little Witch Journey. So it's not about destination; it's about the journey, right? So this is a show about a cute little witch girl, and she can fly and so. But yeah, basically, she takes her broom, right, and she goes out on an adventure, right? She lives in a fantasy world, and it's probably most similar, in my opinion, to Kino's Journey, right? Where a person on a motorcycle, I guess a bike, motorbike, right, in that anime, travels around in this, other universe planet, right, and discovers it and so on. Similar here, right? It's about her flying around and, of course, finding new whimsical and magical places. So I think this could be a cool anime. Another anime I think is going to be similar to is Somali and the Thor Spirit. Also a good anime there earlier this year, right? Somali had a similar feel to it too, right? Where I would say Somali and Daddy, of course, travels around and they have this wonderful crystal mushroom forest, and it's a really interesting desert city. And the next week is like an interesting like a snow country with like this thing, and it's like all the whimsical and magical and so on. I think this anime here will be very similar when we see her, of course, entering different places, right, and discovering how they work and so on, and figuring out these cool magical worlds and golems and that stuff, right? So I think this is gonna be one of the better animes next season, right? And the text here, it's not about the destination, yeah, it's about the travel, right? So yeah, I think it's gonna be I look forward to the show a lot. Yeah, I think it'll be a cool show. Probably in one of my top there, right? One of my top shows next season. But anyway, so there's an original show. This is like historical isekai. Hanyo no Yashihime. So Inuyasha, as you might have seen, Tessamaro, yeah. So old school. I mean, how is it called this kind of shows, right? It's typically, how you say this is shows where it's not historical, really. It's like magical historical. It's like feudal Japan, but they have powers. They have like a tanuki and a kitsune, right? It's that kind of show. They call it historical genre, but I would say more is it's more it's like a shonen thing, but they have some powers, but it's kind of funny. It's not like super brutal, right? I mean, I'm kind of like, I think it's gonna be pretty meh. I'll leave it at that. Let's go on. I'm not interested. This show I think is interesting. Okay, so Yukiko no Moriarty from Production of the Year, right? Classic company. So this is a mystery, like a tree. I think I would call this storyline more a thriller, right? So kind of detective thriller, kind of storytelling, right? And it takes place, as it says there, in the 19th century in Great Britain, right? So about 200 years ago. But it's an interesting story, right? Production IG, I think, has done a lot of really good animes, right? For example, Run with the Wind, right? And Ball and Yakuza and so on, and of course Haikyuu and so on. But so I think they're pretty good at doing mostly sport animes. but Production IG is pretty good at doing, like, for example, again, Run with the Wind I think is probably closest anime, with character-driven storytelling and personality, showing different personalities and like their expression in the faces and so on. So I think this could be a very well done anime. I think it's an interesting company pick there. They can probably do it quite well. But that being said, I don't think that this mystery anime is going to be any. I mean, it might be amazing, but it's probably not very casual. It's probably quite lower niche of an anime. Anyway, finally, so of course this is the best show. This is by far, of course, the best show. And no other show matters. Yeah, this is by far the best show. This is, if you haven't seen Golden Kamuy, what's wrong with you? It's the same thing with this damn list. Golden Kamuy is not here in the middle after like 20 anime. This is the best anime of 2018, easily. I think it's like, it's not even a question in my mind, And I really loved. Okay, listen again. I really loved Place Further Universe, like Sora Yora, right? I cried at anime, episode 12, You Got Mail. Yeah, that's like one of the best emotion. I wanna spoil. I should have seen it by now, but like Sora Yora, right? The male scene and so on. But generally the anime. But yeah, it's like the best anime, one of the best anime I've seen in my life. 18, in the beginning of 18, the first season of this anime. But this show then, again, right? I said again, Sora Yora, one of the best animes I've ever seen. Amazing anime, again, 18. This show aired at the same time, right? This is one. And I was like, this is just breathtaking. Golden Kamuy. I mean, seriously, this anime, it's probably like my number 2 of all time animes after Kaji. Kaji is the best anime in my opinion ever, right? And Golden Kamuy is probably number 2 in my opinion. So even if I really loved Sora Yora, and I would say that Sora Yora and Golden Kamuy was by far the 2 best anime 18, right? So the other 8 top 10 wasn't even, no question in my mind. They were Hinamatsuru was probably 18, right? Hinamatsuru was really good too. Okay, fine. Hinamatsuru was also a masterpiece. But right, yeah, Hinamatsuru is fine at number 3. But no, it's hard to explain. But this anime is so goddamn good. I'm gonna try to explain to people briefly. So first of all, if you haven't seen it, it's about a guy going to the northern, the most cold place in Japan, right? So this is Hokkaido. There are Sapporo and so on, right? It's basically north of Japan, right? But it's taking place just after the Japanese-Russian war, the Shino War, which is in the early 20th century. So 1945 Shino War. Oh, is it 85? Oh, whatever. It's about it's 904, right? To 905. I'm saying it's wrong age here. But anyway, this takes place after that. So they had this war at Sakhalin, which is the island just north of Japan, there, which is today Russia. And that island that was disputed between Russia and Japan, right? So it's a lot of historical things here. And the Ainu people then, which I see it by here, is an Ainu, right? Which is another ethnic people than Japanese people. They live at both Sakhalin and at and all the islands around that area, right? So there's a lot of that thing too, the historical aspects. And Japan won that war, and Japan won the war, which is a very interesting war because it's the first time a country that isn't a Western state defeated a Western state since the Renaissance era, basically. So during the Renaissance era, UK or Great Britain then, and France and so on, right, and Holy Roman Empire and so on, they were quite undefeated by the other countries, right? So Japan was the first country to actually defeat a Western state, which is then Russia in this case, then, and had and that's why Japan also had. They were on the UN and earlier, and they also kind of led them to have the alliance, with the Germans and so on later on. But anyway, so this war and this anime is very interesting in that historical aspect, because what happened was that Japan's long historical aspect, but take that Japan, while they won, right? So Japan again, the first country to beat a Western state at this colonial time, right? They win, but they get a pretty bad deal. So they kind of lose Sakhalin, and they kind of lose, northern Manchuria, the kind of area with Pratas and so on. They kind of lose that even if they won against the Russians. So there's a lot of people that are angry right at the government, because they're like, why didn't we get more power? Like, we won against the Russians, we should have the whole area, right? So they get pissed off, right? So many of the bad guys are kind of aiming at, in this anime, taking over Japan, right? Because they're tired of the shogunate, and they're like, screw that, right? At the same time, this is following quite closely to Meiji Restoration. So Meiji Restoration is the last kind of samurai war, right? If you ever seen Rurouni Kenshin, that's about Meiji Restoration, right? After Meiji Restoration, which takes place in 1880, so around that decade there. 86, you usually say, is the end of Tokugawa era, right? Yeah, roughly. So the Age Tokugawa era, right, or the Edo period, is from 1602, right, to 1886. I want to say, I think it's roughly we say there, right, which is the shogunate era, right? Before that, you have civil war in Japan, right? That's the Sengoku era, and then you have the Tokugawa era or Edo period, and that's ended with the Meiji Restoration, where the emperor got power again. So anyway, that's important here, because some people, right, and one of the bad guys is basically Rurouni Kenshin, but an old man. So yeah, so this is also kind of a remnants of old samurais, right, that are pissed off too, because Japan stopped being a shogunate, right? They removed the feudal state of Japan in the 1880s, right? So they're pissed at that too, right? So basically what happens in anime is that a lot of people are pissed at everything, right? So you have the military are angry, the samurais are angry, and then you have this random guy is like, I just want to make money. So the basic premise is everyone is pissed off, right? And most of them put in jail. Okay, they put in jail. No, but my grandfather was a professor of history. My grandfather was a history professor and also a math professor. So he teaching me as a kid, right? But yeah, so I know all the history, right? so anyway, so what happened here, as in real life, that interesting, is that all these people, right, all these old samurais, which are mostly really old, right, and these military guys and so on, they get put in prison, right, with these crazy serial killers, right, and so on, and because they were all against the empire, right, the new Japanese empire, which is then the start of the Japanese empire, and then in this anime here, then, which is not of course real life, but this is the anime starter point basically. Every prisoner has like a tattoo on their back that tells you where the epic treasure is of the Ainus. I see it by here, her people, right? So basically, The premise then is that the main character Sugimoto, Immortal Sugimoto, which took place he was part of the Japanese-Russian War, right? He travels around this, cold, forgotten Japanese countryside, and it's like killing serial killers and or samurais or old military men to get these maps, right? Because the map tells you where this Ainu, like billion gold, rescue, the money's right. And the anime is so interesting because basically every goddamn character is really, really interesting. And every goddamn character in the anime are really epic, right? Some is like some old samurai guy, some is a serial killer, some is some psychopath. They're all crazy. Every goddamn character is crazy in one way or another, which makes it really interesting. And also they have, I think the strength of Golden Kamuy so much is that they also have really competent bad guys, right? I'm very tired of watching shows where the bad guy is like, oh, the good guy would never think of this solution, and they just don't do shit, but they could easily have won, right? I feel it's boring when the main character, the good guys, can win very easily because the bad guy is just so incredibly bad at being a bad guy or bad at strategy. Because then you wonder, how could he then conquer the planet or whatever to begin with, right? It doesn't make any sense. But usually fall. But in Golden Kamuy, it's the opposite. Every goddamn character's anime is very, very realistic and very pragmatic and intelligent and so on. So there's so many good scenes with the good guys that defeat the bad guys. Like, oh, you can trick me. And they actually are very, very competent. Which makes the anime really stand out for having so many good characters. And they're badass, right? They are badass. However, the reason why the main character doesn't die, so the plot armor, right, is not actually, it's a plot armor, because yes, there's so many factions in Spain, right? You have the samurais, you have the military, you have the betrayed military, you have the other serial killers, you have the Ainu people. There's so many factions, it's like 20 factions anime. It's a very confusing anime, because the characters are all over the place, right? And that means that the main character can survive shit, because even though the bad guys are really good at being bad guys, they don't want to kill him, because they're like, hey, you're on our side. We have this war against these people. Okay, I'll join you people. And then he betrays them and so on. So he's also a great, main character, because he's willing to betray everyone. He's willing to betray everyone except, his girlfriend, kind of, yeah. Everyone else is basically, out to die, right? He's Sugimoto's willing to kill basically everyone else except her, right? So that makes it good too, because they all go back and forth, right? Who's gonna be good, who's bad, and so on. But anyway, I love that in this show that there is no plot armor. The main character actually survives shit because there's so much conflict between everyone. But basically, the only one he trusts is, Asirpa. Yeah, this is basically the only one he trusts. She's an innocent Ainu girl. She's basically the only one he trusts, right? And everyone else is like up to kill, right? And oh man, this anime is so, I won't spoil, but this anime is so good. Like this one episode about one of the side characters, when he's a psychopath, he kills his own father, and he explains how he murdered his own family, and it's crazy episodes. There's another episode about a guy that he skins people alive, kind of, and he makes suits of the people. So the anime is crazy too. The anime is crazy, and it's this weird comedy too. Like one episode, they have this guy running around in like a beer suit, fighting in a mine. And so the comedy is crazy too. One episode they get drunk too by about some kind of weird meat, and then they have this weird sumo battling, and they're all naked. So this anime has this really interesting dynamic of characters, right? And they also have really weird comedy. So you never know what you get. It's an amazing show. I say one thing though, in the beginning, they have this like CGI animals, the bear basically. It looks really ugly. So the first episode, like, what is this crap? And then you have to get through episode 1 and 2 because the bear is so ugly CGI, but that's the only thing that's bad in the whole anime. The first one episode with the Kuma, it looks so weird. But otherwise, again, this is like my favorite show of 18 easily. I don't think any show in 19 was even close to this show. This is in my opinion, this is the best show I ever reviewed in this channel, like easily. Not to say it's the best show ever, but the show I have reviewed and reacted to on my channel here. Because I started the channel, late 17 basically. So this is the best show, yeah, or middle, I would say easily over these years. There've been, of course, all the good shows too, right? I mean, like Kaguya-sama, right, and so on. But Mob Psycho, of course, was really good, but that's in 2 though. But no, I think this is the best anime I've seen ever on my channel. It's just amazing. It's really amazing. So anyway, if you haven't seen the show, I absolutely recommend it. Right, it's 24 episodes, I think. 12 times 2, I think so. And one last thing I will say to before I spoil too much is that every episode is so intriguing. Every episode you're like, what's happening? Oh, he's died, exploded, and also character dies, right? A lot of character dies too. So one of those showing, the bad guys reappear. Some of them, of course, reappear, but half of them also die. Half of them is like, oh, this guy died here, that guy there, and this new character appears, and it's just it's a super intriguing show, and it's so heat, it's so much packing heat all the time. Like the last episode before the cliffhanger was like crazy. It's like battleships and people are dying and this betrayal. Yeah, and it's always betrayal, right? And who's gonna betray who? And there's so much dynamics and whose team is somewhere. So if you like that too, where you're like, who's gonna kill me first? And everyone's like, I'm gonna kill you. So everyone is very interesting, and they even have some good actions. And I don't want to spoil too much, but it's an amazing show. And the thing is that essentially is that every character, right, from this prison, all these like experienced murderer or military man or samurai or whatever. And again, but when I say military, I'm talking about early industrial military, right? Where samurai means old shogunate, samurai with swords, right? They're a different thing, right? Military is more like I fought in the war against Russia. Samurais, people fought against the emperor in the the Meiji Restoration Wars, so 2 different wars, right? But anyway, these are all interesting characters. One guy's like an old hunter that wants to kill this big wolf because he's like, I want to kill every animal. So they're all crazy. It's all really crazy, and they're all so competent. But anyway, let's go on before I die talking about Golden Kamuy. But again, I think it's the best show that I've ever seen in my life almost. It's an amazing show. And I say one thing more. Okay, one thing more. Of course, I'm disappointed still that this show is like in the middle bottom here. Like, why is it so far down popularity? What's wrong with you people? This is the best show ever. Stop, pushing. Like, how is this random isekai anime high? Okay, that's pretty good anime probably, but how is this isekai anime higher on the popularity? People are more hyped about this show. This might be a good show, but it's like some random isekai show compared to Golden Kamuy, which is a masterpiece. So, yeah, you get I'm a little bit like, God damn it, anime, God damn it, people, God damn it. Whatever, let's go on before I spoil the whole show there. But I really do love Golden Kamuy. It is the best show ever. Okay, anyway, Majo de Ojo-sama, and Ojo-sama, of course, like Ojo-sama is, how say it, rich lady or whatever, right? Now this is sorted by popularity. That's why Golden Kamuy is in the bottom. That's what I mean. This is sorted by popularity. If it was sorted by, I don't know, rating or something, it hopefully would be higher. This is sorted by popularity. That's why stuff like Fire Force is number 1, and such a Golden Kamuy is like in the bottom because no one watches that amazing show. But anyway, yeah. So Majo de Ojo-sama, I think it looks like a pretty good anime. It's like a comedy anime. It's about a girl that just wants to. I would say she reminds me of. God, I'm tired now. What's it called? Umaru-chan, but it's kind of like pop girl just trying to relax and watch shit and watch anime, but she's kind of like a some kind of medical princess. But it's still kind of that level I feel where she's just trying to have like a slice. It's a slice of life show. Yeah, you want to have a cute girl that tries to do cute stuff, and then all the people around her is like, come on, you can't just sleep all day. You're a princess. You need to go out and do something or learn your magic skills. And she's like, no, I wanna be home and play with the teddy bear. So I think it's gonna be a pretty funny comedy show. Obviously done by Dogakubo, which does like all the Dogakubo, which does cute girl, does cute stuff company. Yeah, so it makes sense in doing that. And this show I think is pretty cool too. Kuma beer, which is kind of a weird name. So Kuma means beer in Japanese, right? That's the Japanese word for beer. And so this show is called Beer. If you translate, if you translate or get the word right, it means beer. So anyway, the anime is called Kuma beer. And immediately when I see this show, right, well, I'm thinking about, of course, it's Bufuri, right? Shield Girl, right? Absolutely right. Immediately when I see this show, I think extremely much about maple syrup and her maple and her guild and so on. So basically, in Kuma beer, I don't want too much Kuma. In Kuma beer, the show is about a virtual and more RPG, right? So it's not isekai, but you're playing a game that is so realistic, exactly like in Bufuri, right? So the inside the game world, but the game world is so amazing, like Sword Art Online and so on, right? And this girl is she's not very good at the game. It goes fine and so on, right? But then she finds this amazing Kuma suit, right? This amazing, I don't know, like for some reason this Kuma suit, this bear suit is so strong that she can now do everything, but it's also super cute, right? And then these other, cute girls are gonna follow her around, so they basically has her in the Yuri horror mat. Kind of like Bufuri, yeah. So yeah, if you like Bufuri, you will probably like this show, because it seems, to me, in my opinion, looking at trailers, so I read novel, but looking at trailers, it seems very similar to Shield Girl, right? Basically, a little younger, likes a, very, very realistic, super virtual reality MMORPG, right? And she has suddenly some weird power that makes her, immortal or whatever, but it looks stupid, and everyone loves her, and everyone thinks she's super cute. So it's like a power fantasy, right? Overpowered MC kind of thing going on, right? But also very cute. So yeah, again, I think this, to me, this show sounds incredibly similar to Bufuri. Like, incredibly similar to Bufuri. Like, almost exactly, right? Like, it sounds super similar. But it's also Isekai kind of, which I guess I can ignore. But yeah, it sounds like a Bufuri. And this is some game, and based on a game, I don't even care. Like, I'm like, whatever. This, though, sounds good. Okay, so this is a Yuri show, guys. If you want to see two cute girls like Citrus, that's probably more like Bloom Into You, right? So this is like a cute girl. This is very Yuri, yeah. This is like straight up Yuri, right? So Adachi to Shimamaru? I can't speak. I'm tired after my Golden Kamuy rant, but yeah. So this is an anime then about two teenage girls, right? They're gonna meet up, right? And they're gonna intertwine between the relationship, and they're gonna explore their romance and nature, if they actually like girls and so on. So sounds to me like one of my favorite animes out of that year, of course. As I mentioned, Bloom Into You. Citrus was this. Actually, I know a lot of people hate Citrus, but I didn't hate Citrus. I just laughed at it. It was obviously trash. I mean, Citrus was like, you were trash. Yeah, Bloom Into You was like one of the best romance shows ever in anime. It was like an amazing, beautiful story between two girls, right? And also one of their friends that is trying to get laid with her. But but yeah, like Bloom Into You was a beautiful, very, very beautiful girl on girl show, right? Beautiful, that's really, really beautiful. And then Citrus the same year was like the opposite. It was like the trashiest two sisters. One of them is like, oh, I'm gonna show you how to be a woman, and this guy is like, oh, you in the shower? Let me get in there. Yeah, it's like that was like the opposite of Bloom Into You. It was like the polar opposite. One of them is like sweet, slow burn Yuri. The other one is basically, you can't say it on YouTube, but that kind of not family friendly storytelling. This here, to me, looking at the trailer and so on, right, seems to be similar to Bloom Into You, right? You want that, nice, friendly, family friendly, two lesbians, like finding out that they're into girls and that stuff, right? Of course, my favorite show last year of all time was, Arebar, yeah, so similar to that, maybe, right? Yeah, but so they're gonna explore being into girls, right? Here, though, comes my favorite show after, of course, Golden Kamuy. This is clearly the best show, guys. This is clearly the best show. Forget about that Yuri shit. Forget about that, girl on girl. Forget about that stuff. Two cute women. This is the shit, right? So, I mean, obviously, as everyone knows, follow me on my channel, is that Dan Man. Yeah, my brain is crazy now. Is of course that Dumbbell, Dumbbell is the best kind of show ever, right? Yeah, so it's like Dumbbell Kilo Botoru version 2. Yeah, it's like season 2 of Dumbbell, right? So basically, hot girls, muscular females. They're all like, oh, you're gonna get ripped, So it's very, very similar. I have my Ayaka here, right? It's very similar to this thing, right? It's like very, very muscular girls that are doing stuff, and then they are flexing, right? And then, oh yeah, look at me. Compare these two girls here, right? These are from the, Tick and Brick, as it's called, muscular girls. You can look at those. Look at those abs. Look at those abs. There we go. That's the image I want. Yeah, look at those abs. It's like abs on abs, right? Yeah, it's like her abs has abs. Yeah, her abs has abs. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, yeah. So Eva Kakuro Sport Climbing Girls, right? It is by far that fan service, man of culture, hot girls, muscular girls. If you like that, ab girls, right? Who's a boob or ass man? You can be an ab man. I'm an ab man, right? I like girls with big big abs, right? Yeah, and this is definitely anime for you. All these girls are called exercising, and they're getting really, really muscular, and then of course the angles are gonna be like, oh look at that, she's climbing, and it's gonna be very thick. Yeah, it's gonna be. This is seriously an anime. I'm of course, as a man of culture, I'm looking forward to this anime a lot, right? Like a lot. Yeah, it's up a little more than 2 weeks now. It's gonna be awesome seeing this massive, well-trained girls and climbing is the one. Yeah, but I mean, you know what it is. It's like yes, girls, wanna be the strongest. I don't know what that refers to. Actually, no. Maybe not then. But yeah, it's like if you wanna be the strongest. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe the Japanese name. But anyway, yeah, like it's muscle girls. Muscle girls. It's hopefully they have a match here though. Hopefully they have a match. I was saying this thing here. Hopefully they have a match. I need my, Saidu Chesto! And it exploded. Oh yeah, one thing. The anime better have a good opening song. It better has a good opening song. Sekai de Ichiban. No, I haven't seen it actually. I don't recognize it at all actually. Gotta check it out. Sekai de Ichiban. Check it out after we go down here. So Akaduma Drive, it's from Studio Pierrot and it sounds like Black Clover. So so for Studio Clown, right? Studio Pierrot is French for clown. It's how would I say it? It seems very shonen. Like it's just they do shonen show, right? Studio Pierrot, Studio Clown, and it's like this is some kind of post-world, and they're fighting people, and they have powers, and some guys very muscular. I don't know, but I mean, it seems to be a very, very shonen show, right? It's sci-fi. People have powers, and then they brawl, right? And then they fight, and people have different abilities, and there's some kind of plot probably. I don't know. It's a regular show, but I think it looks okay. Like the trailer shows you pretty cool action, but the thing is that if you do a trailer, you usually would have the best action. Like yesterday, I reacted to FF16's trailer, and I was very confused about that because I was like, "It is the best thing they have." Honestly, no. I mean, be honest. You look at my own video for that, but it was like being a JRPG. I'm a huge JRPG guy, right? I play all the JRPGs. FF16 is chocolate here. It was a weird trailer because it didn't actually look that good. I don't mean like gameplay. I just mean like graphic standing point. It didn't look that good, honestly. Like it should be better for PS5. But anyway, I digress. This anime here is opposite, right? It looked really good, I think, on trailer. But because usually then, my point was that usually when you do a trailer, you take the best scene you have, right? And show the best scene you have. So, I mean, I'm gonna give it a chance, right? I think they've done, some good stuff with Black Clover, right? Especially with their CGI and so on Black Clover, actually. Like the fight separate with I have one spoil, but there's a fight in Black Clover where we have a guy having like lava powers, not really lava, but he kind of creates a lava thing, and I think that looked really interesting. So I think that Studio Pierrot has some interesting skills out there for, but they use freelance, I think. But anyway, let's go on. This is the show though, Muna no Nana. So this show is yet another horror show, right? Call it that. I don't know, but basically it's lost. Okay, so it's lost, but it's lost in it's anime lost, right? It's anime lost, right? It's lost, but it's anime lost. So instead of having 20 people stuck on an island, and then they're like, oh, it's a kind of magical bear or something, and there's some stupid numbers for like 5 seasons and no one's telling me. This anime, right? It's similar. You have cute girls instead stuck on an island, right? And there's some aliens or whatever, and they have to fight, and they have powers, and they have to figure out this secret. Uzumaki is definitely a very horrible anime, yeah. Spiral, yeah, from Unito, yeah. Especially the Unito collection, which is the worst animated ever. I said it last live stream, but if you ever seen, so Uzumaki, horror show, right? But he also did Unito, the collection, right? The different short stories. There's a running scene in that anime with the clowns, where they run like this. Like the character. He's doing this thing. They don't even animate the arms. The guy is moving the character like this in the background. That's why you need to use work is so horrifying. No, but yeah. It's a good point. I mean, I have Uzumaki, I have the manga. You can buy the whole manga thing. You can buy the whole manga thing for pretty cheap, actually. I was in Copenhagen on this business trip last year, and they had the Uzumaki manga, like the whole manga, like all the volumes in one big freaking book. So I bought that because it only costed like $20 or so. It was pretty cheap, maybe $30, but it was cheap though for like it's pretty fat. It's like all the chapters in one big book. But there's a good point though, is that these two animes, because I think, how to say it, I'm a big fan of Junji Ito. He's like the horror grandpa, right, of manga. But his work, they are very focused on body modification, right? Like so Uzumaki then Spiral, it's all about that the body getting twisted, everything. So for example, there's one woman, she's afraid of everything with spirals in the beginning. I won't spoil too much here, but she's afraid of spirals. So she's like removing her finger things because it's a spiral, right, on your fingerprint, right? And she gets her eardrum because the eardrum is a spiral. So she removes everything that's a spiral around her, including her own body. So for example, that's a scene in Uzumaki, right? So it's quite horrific. But why I like Junji Ito from the horror aspect, the body horror aspect, and especially the holes that the people have small holes and so on, I think his general storylines isn't that horrific. I mean, they're kind of weird, but see what I mean? Man of his stories are just kind of crazy, yeah. Like this kind of anime, I haven't seen the anime, right? But if I compare it, this anime, to me, it sounds more like, some kind of magical, weird, magic girls fighting some horror show, right? Was mentioned earlier, When They Cry, right? When They Cry, for example, is that more horrific than Junji Ito's work? I would argue and say yes, because yes, it's less, weird stuff, weird, bloody, and so on, right? But it's more that this is weird betrayal, right? Some kind of confusing time traveling. It's more like that, right? Or like if you've seen, last year, what is it called now again? The Island? Is that what it's called? It's an anime. It's like The Island, where it's like a lot of weird time travels, where he's dating his own daughter or something like that. It's something weird. Yeah, what is it now again? Like the girl he's dating or working for is actually his like own daughter or something, because he went in the future and met her there, and then she sent back the daughter to the past, and then someone like found her in some kind of cave, and then it's like a weird time travel thing, so he's actually dating his own daughter kind of thing. Yes, because the mom of the girl he's dating is his wife from the future or something. Like, I don't know, it's like whatever it's to the island. I'm probably spoiling them. I tried to remember it because it's such a weird storyline. It's like, wait a minute, he was dating his own daughter, and he's actually the mother that was hiding from him in the earlier storyline is his actual future wife. So when he has done a few time travels, he's actually ending up marrying his girlfriend's mom because it's his actual wife from the future. Something like that. People, come on, someone has seen Island. It's like something weird. It's something weird like that. But anyway, that thing, right, is not what Uzumaki and Ito does, right? He does like crazily weird looking images. He's like the master of doing horrific, art, right? But I think his stories, like Uzumaki, even though I like Uzumaki, I didn't bother, right? I think Uzumaki's storyline is just kind of like, so everything is a spiral, and then they enter the world. I think it's interesting. I'll spoil too much here, but it's interesting. The people in the end is sort of building their house like spirals, like the whole city. So it's like a weird thing, but the ending is just really strange. So yeah, and the worst thing is the Goy, right, for the clowns. It's even stranger. If you've seen Goy, if you've seen his manga, the movie of Goy, so fish then, like Goji means fishman, right? So Goy is the fish doll of Junji Ito. And it's really weird because after a while, in the end of the movie, or in the end of the manga as well, they have these clowns appearing. And these clowns are like zombies or whatever kind of thing. And they're driving their clown stuff, or their machines, on like the gas of these fishes. They produce this kind of weird gas, the mecha fish things. And they're driving that, which is really strange. It's never explained. It's really, really weird. Like that's my, I mean, again, I like it to Junji Ito, but sometimes I feel he's just like he can't end the storyline. Like instead of ending Goy, he's like clown zombie guy. It's like, okay, it feels like Karakuri Circus, and it's not explained. It's like why is the clowns using, I don't know, fish gas or something to drive their clown machinery or something. And for that matter, I remember it as an anime or in the manga and or the movie, but the main character's uncle becomes like a fish flying thing in the end of the manga or something. It's just really strange. Like it turns into like like a dragonfly or something, slash shark or something, and he flies away. It's really strange. I mean, that's what I mean with anyway. This anime here, I think, is more horror, right? In typical horror sense, that someone's gonna betray someone and it's some kind of mystery. So yeah, it was my unique rant, but it's like a weird thing. His shows are so they're more weird, right? They're mystery horror in a weird body sense. Anyway, this is another mystery horror show, and it feels weird to me because this is Doga Kobo, which only does cute girl gone cute. So yeah, so when I look at this show, I'm just like, what's happening? What's happening? Isn't this supposed to be a cute? They're not doing a cute show like the other show they did. So this is also another one, mystery that figure out stuff. It's some kind of criminal kind of storytelling. Like the gang is trying. It's one of those shows that reminds me of, for example, maybe a little bit of Durara, Hakata Ramen's, right? That kind of show, kind of gang related. I want to control my my posse and fight your army and so on. That kind of show. Anyway, let's go on. So I'm definitely gonna watch this show. I don't know how good it's gonna be, but obviously I'm a JRPG fan, right? I play all the JRPGs at Dragon Quest. Of course, I played Dragon Quest 11 and 8, especially with a very good game. I think 8 is probably my favorite. 11 is really good. 11 is really good. It's hard to explain, but that game is just so long, like 110 hours main story. Jesus Christ, what a good game it is, and has everything, right? Really good. But 8 is probably my favorite of all time Dragon Quest games. Old school Japanese role-playing games, very much so. But anyway, so they have done several Dragon Quest animes before. They've done mangas before, right? So this is like, I don't know, the 10th anime actually doing Dragon Quest. I don't know, but they've done several. I have a few of the mangas they've done earlier, the old ones, right? With Akira Toriyama or I think the old one I have isn't actually done by Akira Toriyama, but the author is trying to emulate his, Dragon Ball style. So yeah, that's a good point. I should say that. Of course, Dragon Quest is very famous too because Akira Toriyama, of course, the Dragon Ball creator, also Dragon Quest, Dragon Ball. He's the artist, all the monsters and the character in Dragon Quest, right? So it's very famous, right? That all Dragon Quest character looks like Dragon Ball characters, like straight up. Like if you played Dragon Quest 8. The main character is clearly Gohan. It is straight up grown up Gohan. It is Super Saiyaman Gohan when he has the bandana. It is really clearly Gohan. And one of the characters, Agnello, or the playable characters, that is clearly Trunks. It's Trunks with gray hair. And his brother in that game is clearly Vegeta. I'm honestly, I love Dragon Ball, I love Akira Toriyama, but when he does Dragon Quest stuff, every character looks like it's supposed to be Dragon Ball character. They're always like, oh, that's Bulma. It's always like, oh, that's Videl and that's Bulma. That's Videl with green here. It's like he always just take the character down in Dragon Ball and gives them more hair color. It's like I'm just saying, guys, but it's truth. I love what he's done with Dragon Ball, but I feel like he's done the same thing with every other show since then. Look at that guy. He has the Goku hairstyle. Come on, that's how he always does it. That's the Goku hairstyle. Look at that guy in the background. That is clearly like a bad guy in Dragon Ball. Like that could be any Piccolo or some other alien bad guy. Look at that guy down there. That is clearly Goten or so. Yeah. That woman though, just it doesn't look like Bulma for once. I'm thinking, but the thing is that this is not only Akira Toriyama's fault though. Okay. Because when they do Dragon Quest, movies and gaming and this anime and so on, right? What they are doing is that, as I mentioned earlier, as I have some of the books, right, is that they kind of try to emulate him, right, as well. Sometimes he's personally the same thing again, but some other times they just emulating him. So the people doing this anime, they're just like they're looking at Dragon Ball and being like, let's copy Dragon Ball. So yeah, he's kind of like a circle of people just doing Dragon Ball all over again. But I'm gonna watch it, see what happens, but. It's probably like a decent shonen show, right? But yeah, let's go on. And this to me screams like Azur Lane, or Kanta Collection. So basically, Assault Lily's name, Assault Lily Banquet. It is cute girls fighting shit in the skies. Yeah. So basically, it's cute girls, right? And they are cute, and then they have to fight evil aliens. And they can use their weapons to fight these evil aliens. And this is like many of these cute girl shows, right? Where we have two different versions. You have the cute girls doing cute stuff, right? Like, Con and so on, right? Cute girls playing music. Or they have the cute girls, they can turn into weapons and fight, right? So this is second, of course, the latter, where you have, the world's attacked by aliens, but then this charm girls, right? This Hate Energy. Yeah, Hate Energy is a little more etchy, I think. This is more just cute girls that are like, I can transform my arm into a sword. It's more like that, right? And I don't know, Shaft is a really cool anime, so the opening is gonna be great. Shaft opening is always good, but I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. It probably isn't a very good anime, right? It's probably like mediocre, to be fair, right? And this is also one of these comedy shows, third season or whatever. It's like I think it's a mediocre show. And here it's yet another cute girl done cute fighting. So similar to the other show, this show here is about. I don't know, aliens coming or something, and then cute girls can fly airplanes and fight aliens, and Odin powers them up. So they're called Valkyries because Odin and Valkyries, right? So they're kind of the same thing again, right? It's cute girls done cute stuff, but this thing I'm more excited for because it reminds me of Magnificent Kubutani. So that was a kind of dogfighter, I mean, like airplane dogfighting, that kind of stuff, what it's called. And I actually really liked the show. Yeah, that show was an underwater show, I felt, because they had really cool battles. It had a really cool, actually, mostly CGI, but in my opinion, actually really well done sound effects, thematic, tempo, all that good stuff. So actually, one of the best fights, in my opinion. Magnificent Kubutani, really cool fight actually. The storyline was pretty whatever, but they had really cool fights. This show then, Senyoku no it's supposed to be Swedish. I mean, it's called like Sig. In Japanese, it'd be like Sigdriaffa. Yeah, but I mean Sigfrid. Sigdriaffa. It's probably bad if I say it in Swedish, right? Because obviously it's supposed to be some Nordic language thing because it's based on the Odin. So it's more like Norwegian about it. But so I would probably say that like let's say. So the word is, if you go up there, so show it better on the screen here. So the word is something weird, but in Swedish that is basically like Sig, which is a name, and Siv is a god and so on, right? A pretty common name early on. And Siegfried is the person that killed Fafnir and so on, right? So pretty common name in the past. So that's basically like Sigrid. Sigrid is like the Sigrid would be like the female version of Siegfried. So that, I would read this as like Sigdriffa. It is a really weird word because it doesn't make any sense in Scandinavian language. If it was like Sigfrida or Sigrid or like Sigrid or maybe like Sigridivia, Sivia, Sigridifia, it would sound better. It is a weird now because like Sigrid would be a name and Sigrida would be a name, but Sigriffa, it's like too many consonants. I don't know what they mean, but I guess they kind of butchered some Scandinavian. I mean, I suppose it's butchered some name, right? That doesn't even make any sense for that matter because the Romani, you can't even write it in Japanese. You can't write Sigridifia, it would be, because in Japanese, like the word here, like sen, like no, or so on, like sen, yoku, and so on, right? If you have a consonant like g there, you need to put another a vocal after that. So if this was in Japanese translated, there would be like sig and then be a go or a gu or whatever, right? And a ru and a du and so on. So you can't even write this thing. So there's probably straight up called that in like some kind of weird name. Like I want to Google it. I don't understand it. I'm like, what is this word? This is my language police comes in here. I have to Google this. But it doesn't mean something. It could be old Icelandic maybe. Okay, so when I Google that, I get something else that's called Sigrid. So again, Sigrid Fumal. Okay, this is way better when I read Wikipedia because it means it's also an old name for Brunhilda. So okay, that's not way better. So Brunhild. Yeah, it's related to Sigurd. Yeah, so Sigurd is how I call it. Yeah, it's related to Sigurd or Sigurd. So that's Sigurd. Yeah, Great Siegfried. Okay, so it means So we get it here. It means driver to victory. Okay, I can't show the image here on YouTube actually because the image is a lady with her oppai falling out. So yeah, the Wikipedia has a lady that's like Brunhilda is like welcome Siegfried, and her oppai is like it's like shown. So good Wikipedia image there. Some old painting there. Yeah, good. But yeah, so it has to do with, of course, Siegfried. So Brunhilda welcomes Siegfried home. So it means drive. So I get the name now, Sigdrif. But it's probably not pronounced. Let me just give me a second. I'm sorry for this weird. Because Siegfried. Because drive is. But it doesn't make any sense. Why would it be Sigrid? Siegfried. Brunhilda. Okay, yeah. Okay, I get it now. This is probably how it's pronounced, actually. Okay, so super outlay. What is it probably how it's pronounced? This is probably pronounced, and I'm reading from Ost Icelandic into English here. This is probably pronounced actually as just Siegfrieda. Yeah. So Siegfried, right? I mentioned again the guy that beats Fafnir and so on. He is welcomed by Brunhilda, or Brynhilda, to say Wikipedia, and she was also oppai out there and so on. So I can show the image, but. And you can translate the Sigrid as Siegfried, right? So Siegfried, right? You know, as in so Caliber and so on, yeah, Siegfried. Or Siegfried, yeah, so in German and so on, yeah. So that, and then it's an A from like Brunhilda. So Siegfrieda is probably how you pronounce that. Siegfried, Siegfrieda, yeah. Anyway, let's go on the anime. But this is a weird name. It's a weird spelling. Anyway, yeah. Digimon, of course, ongoing. You know, yeah, last season. Musical. Are we done now? No, we have some cute rail game or something. But it's a gaming anime. Like whatever. Gaming anime to me in short form. But these are all. How to say it? These animes are quite tricky because they are animes based on a game that is mostly done to promote the game, right? Some of them are good. Very rarely they are. Very usually it's very short, and you're like, here's the cute girls from the game you're playing. Please buy our game, you know. It's like 5-minute episode. So whatever, it's probably bad. This into show, Taiso Samurai, is about a gymnastic guy. Pretty interesting, I think. Might be good. Mappa, of course. Mappa is a famous, you know, Japanese anime company. So yeah, they're like producing this. How I say it? It's a guy that gets in. It's about a guy that gets injured, right? It's kind of the classic, you know, how I say it, coming back from an injury sports storyline, right? A guy severely injured, right, trying to still have a career as a sportsman, right? So it's that kind of, you know, I would call it redemption story, but you know, like kind of, you know, like a character that is, yeah, he heavily injured. No one believes in him anymore. But he's gonna fight, you know, and become. And succeed anyway. So it's the original, so I don't know, but that's kind of what I get from the trailer and so on. The synapse. If we put Pokemon still ongoing, it's always right. And now I think we're down in the bottom here. We have some games. Strike Witches again, whatever. And some cute comedy shows. Is something more? Okay, this show I kind of like. It's an interesting premise. It sounds so stupid, the premise itself. So okay, so this is Hypnosis Mic Division Rap Battle Rhyme Anima. So the name itself is awesome. Yeah, they're like Rap Battle Rhyme Anima. That sounds awesome to begin with. So anyway, in a world where females now control the government, something. So for some reason in this future here, no males are allowed to be, I don't know, president or whatever. So it's a matriarch society, okay. But so they have banned all weapons. Doesn't make any sense if I can be honest. But because that thing is how be that guy. But if every country in the world was controlled by females, the weapons of course would still be banned. Or you know, because one country would have a female that is like, you know what? If every other country removes their guns and so on, I will keep my guns and just kick them over. So, you know, because one lady would be like, you know what, I like my gun. So I'm pretty sure that every woman wouldn't just abandon their gun. Whatever. I mean, I digress. But so in this show instead, they're still having wars apparently. They're still having wars, right? They are still having this combat, rap battles, yeah. So instead of having, you know, wars with guns, all these female leaders have decided to have musical battles, right? And of course, to make it better, to make it very, very anime, and I don't know, female-oriented, the rap battles are done by pretty boys. So I have to watch the show because so I mean, all the warriors, the musical warriors, they're all Bichon and pretty boys. They're all like hot, attractive young men, right? They're gonna like I don't know fight each other, to fight these government ladies with their hot, attractive dance routine and music or something. So I don't know. The premise sounds crazy. So I'm gonna watch this show definitely. But it's probably use some shonen bait, right? Yeah, it just sounds kind of funny. I think it sounds comedically. But it's lovely. They're all pretty boys. Yeah, they're like couldn't be one ugly guy singing for no. They all have to be really really pretty. It can't be like one fat guy singing for the ladies. No, it has to be. They're all like 18, super pretty, right? And so all these old ladies can be like, oh yeah, Dinosaur. That's like season 1 that is not finished because of the delays. Yeah, so. And this is another. I'm kind of skipping over game stuff now because I don't know if you're talking about this. But yeah, I mean, it's a Tale thing. So, I mean, actually, I think Tales of Krystoria, it's a gaming thing now, yeah, that to me seems to have actually a pretty interesting storyline. That game. I'll leave it at that, but I don't want to spoil, but that game actually seems to be a really interesting storyline. Probably play it again. But, nothing to do with anime. I feel it's another short stuff, 4 minutes. So now we're probably done at. Oh, interesting. This is some. Yeah, I was like for adult. Immediately that it's like some pretty boys again. It's not pretty boys. I was like, yeah, this is some pretty boy anime. Yeah, there's not a, these are usually done hentai basically for this company. Yeah, so I mean, this says that it's like they always had like one show per season. That is not these pretty boys. It's like literally actual scenes, right? But it's made for females, right? But it's like with the female-oriented mind, right? But yeah, this is probably one of those that they will actually show you. Honestly, it's a novel, but usually when they animated stuff, they usually have the whole Hage scene actually. So this is probably actually straight up hen stuff, but they call it anime for some reason. This shows. But yeah, so now we're down to the music stuff. It's always in the bottom, like the weird. I don't care anymore. I feel like cute Galgal, that's pretty cool. But yeah, now we're down to weird shows that has like one view or something. So whatever, let's iterate. If I forget something, quickly down in Kodomo shows. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so that's a show. Talk about the movie soon. But of course, to iterate, right? To iterate after my like 30 minutes outlay on that show, where are we? A hot rap episode. But to iterate, of course, the only thing that actually matters this season, right? The only thing that actually matters, you know what I'm gonna say. You know what I'm gonna say. It's of course it's anime. Yeah, of course it's anime. The muscular girls. That's the only thing that actually matters. No, but of course I'm talking about Golden Kamuy, which is a little bit further up here. Yeah. So again, to iterate, right? My number one by far, obviously given my like 30 minutes. Talk about it, right? Golden Kamuy, like one of the best shows ever produced. You should absolutely check it out. I am convinced this is the best show next season, just given how amazing season 1 and 2 was, right? It's spectacular. So that's my number one. The muscular climbing show is seriously probably my top 5 though, a little from like an ecchi standpoint. I mean, yeah, like honestly, I am excited to see this show. Kuma Kuma Bear, also probably pretty good, I think, like Bafuri. This show if you want some Yuri stuff, right? But yeah, like climbing show, definitely probably actually in my high up for me from a ecchi standpoint, but it's really ecchi. It's really ecchi, right? But anyways, a few other shows I really like. This show I think it's really good, right? The witch traveling, Kino's journey kind of thing, right? When I see different Somalis and mentioned, right? Basically, a woman flying around, discovering really cool, fantasy worlds, right? Quite. As I said with Somali, I felt Somali was a very what's the word for it? It's like a good illustration or something of fantasy or. It's like a vibrant, yeah, that's what vibrant, like a vibrant world. This feels like a very vibrant anime. Okay, we go to this water castle and it's built of ice crystals, and it's this kind of show, right? So, I mean, I have high hopes for the show. Actually, really high hopes. This is probably one of my top 5 shows. Again, let's go up. When They Cry, of course, horror show, right? Definitely the best horror show probably season. A really, really horrible show. Be good trash and so on. And isekai trash shows. I mean, I think this show looks so generic. Just that it has the old grandpa in the background and the cat girl and the little cleric girl, and it's like, oh, I've seen it all before. isekai. What I mean? It's isekai. Again, it is isekai. It could be any. It could be grandfather isekai shit magician. Yeah, and especially this show here too, as I mentioned earlier, because the main character has he has no friends, he has no family. Basically, everyone hates him, right? So it's very classic. He's very depressed in the image. It's also very isekai that the main character is some kind of bullied kid, right? That gets some magical adventure. That's like the basic storyline, right? Or he's an old man that dies, like in 40-year-old man. Those two are the typical. Yeah, those are the options you have. PA works, you're gonna betray me again. This is anime, it looks good, but PA works, you're gonna betray me. I know it. This is probably gonna be could be my favorite rom-com, right? Married the first day, looks good. This also looks good, right? The romance, Romeo and Julia fighting each other, right? Yeah, the Shishem looks good. And this is probably the best shonen, right? Jujutsu Kaisen, probably top 3 for me. Pretty vampire boys might be good, but it's not that. And then they have all the season shots we don't know about. So anyway, let's talk about movies quickly here. I have a meeting in 40 minutes, so we can make it perfectly here. But yeah, Flight to the Moon I think it's a big good anime too. Yeah, of course. Ask any question, right? Done with the show here next time, but absolutely, yeah. Flight to the Moon. That's Suki. Suki means moon, right? As I mentioned earlier. I think Flight to the Moon, in my opinion, is going to be probably the best comedy. But I am a sucker for that, rom-com, nice. Like I mentioned earlier, also I like Slice of Life, right? Conan and so on. Yeah, I don't need it to be, like here, Demon Slayer. I don't need an anime to have, people getting murdered and body parts flying around and so on. I watch every anime. Right? Yeah, I watch, stuff like, One Punch Man, and I watch stuff like, My Senpai, right? So I don't have any limits really on that, right? So I think that's going to be one of the best shows. Yeah, Flight to the Moon is probably the best comedy next season, in 2 weeks from now. But anyway, obviously, Demon Slayer, we're going to watch that. I'll say this thing though, I think Demon Slayer, time to the Demon Slayer rant. No, but I want to say it again though. So I like saying it to piss people off. No, but Demon Slayer, right? It took the world by storm last year. It wasn't that good though. But I didn't like it at all. No, I think that Demon Slayer to me was a good show, right? It has some cool actions, it has some cool battles. I really like Eden Oscar, right? My favorite character. Imoto-chan, she's really cute and so on. I think Demon Slayer was a good show, right? But I don't know, but it's just because the show is just so incredibly hyped. Every time you mention it, I feel I have to say that I liked it, but I didn't. I wasn't like the best show ever. I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. You know what I mean. But it's just so strange, is because it was a show that just exploded over the show, right? And everyone was saying that this is the best show in history of mankind. And I was like, have you seen Golden Kamuy? I don't know what to know. Have you seen this show? Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's a good show. But for example, the year when, of course, Demon Slayer was airing, which was last year, one show I really loved, right, show is Dr. Stone, right? Dr. Stone, in my opinion, was one of the best shows I've seen in my life too. Dr. Stone is such a well-written show. I think that show was tremendously better than Demon Slayer, right? Being in the same genre. And I liked Demon Slayer, but I loved Dr. Stone, right? So I'm just saying that Dr. Stone was really good. Vinland Saga I also liked more than Demon Slayer, but it was kind of even for me. But yeah, I think the movie definitely is overhyped. I mean, that's one thing though. I mean, I think the movie's gonna be good, right? It's actually coming out soon here now, a month, but it's like a problem they have, and I think it's an interesting problem, right? It's the same thing when you do video games, right? Or if you do books or whatever. If you would do something from entertaining standpoint, and it became so popular, it's overhyped. I'm thinking about my stocks now. Oh, my Tesla stock! Like my Tesla stocks is overhyped. Like Tesla had a crash last week, so I bought a lot of Tesla stocks again, and then it got up a lot, so I earned a lot of money since last week. But yesterday it started going down again, right? So just everything is overhyped, right? Everything that gets too popular because overhyped, then usually it will crash, right? So in the stock market, you want to get out before you're there, right? But so let's see about that today. But anyway, this movie I think is similar, right? Because Demon Slayer is so incredibly hype, everyone, right? This actually probably will sell. This will probably be the best-selling movie this year, right? But I don't think people are gonna enjoy it that much as they're claiming. But I just want to be pragmatic. I think the movie is gonna be good, but I don't think it's gonna be a 10 out of 10. I think it's gonna be like an 8 out of 10. That's probably what it's gonna be. 8 out of 10, probably. Right? but people are gonna say it's either 0 or 10. Yeah, people are gonna have this like this it's either the best thing or the worst thing, right? But in reality, it's probably more like a 7 or 8 or something. But let's go on. But I think it's interesting, Demon Slayer, because it is just a weird controversy in that whole show, right? Because it's so popular. What, 35 minutes? It's today. So yeah, Violet Garden, of course, a very beautiful show. Obviously, I'm gonna watch the movie. I didn't know about today actually, but cool. So how would I explain Violet Garden? So Violet Garden is a show. I will say this thing though. Of course, Kyoto Animation is supported so on. I know some people really love this show. Like it's the best show ever for them. I did not think it was the best show ever. And I don't say that because I didn't cry. Episode 7 I cried. Episode 10 I cried. She's like, Ukasama, and so on. The movie I think is going to be better because the problem with Violet Evergarden, I want to say it here, even though people are always like protecting this anime as the best thing ever, and then that half the episode in that anime was boring in my opinion. And I say boring, I'm being a little mean here, but I think, again, episode 7, right, was the best episode by far, with the father and the writer, and that when she's gonna jump over the water, and that was like, I cried like a baby. And episode 10, right, she's like, Ukasama. That was also an amazing episode. But episode like 5 and 6 was pretty mundane, I felt. So Evergarden was a very uneven anime, I felt, where every second episode was amazing, and the next episode was just kind of like, oh, it's pretty decent. Yeah, so the movie I have high hopes for, because I feel it's going to be more on the high point, right, than the low point of the show. But I think it's fair to say that Violet Evergarden is a very uneven performance. It's quite uneven, I think. So I don't know. Like I'm a little bit. As always, I'm trying to be pragmatic, but it's a very long movie. It's 2.5 hours almost. So it's basically like a freaking an arc. Yeah. So it's a few episodes. It's really long. So it might be the best movie this year. I have high hopes, as I mentioned, because if you take the best part of the anime, it's like one of the best animes ever. The best parts. It is amazing. Episode 3 is really good too, when you get up on the tower there, when even the brother that had walk and so on. That's really good too. The principal, the worst part. I'm just being honest. Like I love Evergarden every second week. But yeah, it's out soon, but it's out in theaters, right? It's out in 30 minutes actually. But it's out on theater, right? But maybe you can. One thing I'm no 30 minutes, but one thing I'm surprised about is how are they still doing this thing though? Because of the like where I live, most of the stuff is you can't go to the theater. I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of movies and so on coming out online, but maybe. But yeah, it's an original anime. So let's see. I mean, maybe it's the best movie this year. But it's not based on the novel. It's based on some original thing. That's true though. Yeah. It's gonna be had next year probably when you get it easily on the internet. But I don't know, because maybe they're gonna release it because you have because the theaters are usually closed, right? Currently, like in Japan and so on. Like it's coming in 30 minutes in Japan, but it's probably a very limited theater thing. I don't know. For that matter, though, I mean, obviously everyone's gonna support Kyoto Anime. It's probably gonna sell really good, though. Hopefully. But yeah, anyway, let's go on. But in Abyss, this I think is just like isn't this like the summary of it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is. I'm a little unsure, but I think this is the summary because it has this weird. Maybe I'm wrong. Huh. I mean, is it released? Maybe it's an OVA actually. Interesting. Okay, maybe it's an OVA product. I'm unsure. I'm a little unsure if it's like a remake. And of course, we're gonna watch Bleach. Oh, it's Bleach, baby! It's coming soon. It's just like a short movie because he only did like a short for a guest. So this is Bleach. It actually takes place in Bleach, though. Look at that girl. That's clearly like a female Ichigo. Because you know how he does it. You know how Tite does it. Every character has the same, face. But she has boobs. It's Ichigo with titties. So Burn the Witch, right? Of course, it's from Tite Kubo. It's like a short work he did that takes place in the Bleach universe. I'm pretty sure it does, right? but it's like in London instead, so something like that. But I think it's I've read it, so it's the same world. I have this memory, isn't it the same world? But it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes sense that whatever is happening in London, something on the same time, like what's happening in Japan, something, but it's nothing to do with the Hollows and so on. Things like that, and they have the dragons and they hate the witch and so on. Yeah, but that's a bit awesome movie. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But I love how she looks. I say it again. She always looks like Ichigo. She looks like Ichigo, but yeah, same universe, different time. But the whole thing of the dragons so doesn't actually make any sense. Like, oh, so they have dragons now over there. We have it to the old both guys and Hollows. I don't know, but it's the same universe for some reason. It could have, in my opinion, it more or less could have been another universe. but anyway, let's go on. Well, this show, I have no idea actually. It's a light novel. Senai Heroine, no text or nothing. I will admit I haven't spent so much time researching these movies this year. Because usually the other movies are usually delayed to get them here anyway, but I have no idea what it actually is. Let's go on. And this is the... this I know exactly what it is. So this is of course, there's Gaara there. He had the cancer is Gaara. But, so this of course is, what's called... oh my god, Says at Work, this is the... Hattori Saibo, yeah. So this is the anime, right, about a cute little red blood cell that gets lost all the time because she's probably a sickle cell or something, and she has, the how I say it, she has the pretty boy white blood cell saving her, and she's like, white blood cell, Hataku, why you saved my life again? Yeah, the whole thing is awesome, and so on. Right? So it's a really good show. Yeah, it's a nice show. I haven't seen it. It's like. It reminds me of this old show. As a kid, we had this show about cells fighting, I don't know, bacteria and so on. What's it called again? It's a French show. I don't know the English word. It's called like it's something like a Cell Story in English. It reminds me. It's like an anime version of the Cell Story. I think it's called something like that in English. Cell Story. It's like a 90-80. I wouldn't call it Osmosis Jones. I think it's more similar to a Cell Story. I'm gonna Google this guy now. I'm gonna Google what I'm meaning, guys, because this is an old show. I think it's done in I think it's done by a French. Here it is. There we go. The English, yeah, because they no, I remember it. Because in English, they also made a history show. So it's called Once Upon a Time Life, a Cell Story, and something super long. Because they also made a history show where they had different historical events. So what I mean is, of course, this show. I think it's actually much more similar to this show. So this show here is like... it's a lot more similar to this show than Osmosis Jones because they're fighting different, bacteria. You have the red and blood white cell and so on, and they have different, roles and they have armies and stuff like that, right? So this is like a super old TV show that is, I think, aired in the early 90s when I was a kid. But I think it's even the 80s. I'm gonna freaking Google it here. I think it's 87. 87, I think it's there. Yeah, originally aired in French, 87, yeah. Because I remember it was a French show. And they also had a space show in 82, interesting. Yeah, but 87. So anyway, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about that's also thinking about when I see this show, right? When I see this anime, I always feel this is an anime version of Once Upon a Time Life. Because it's kind of the same thing, actually. They have different roles, they have different weird bacteria fighting them, there's some action, and obviously my image there, and so on. So that's what I think. Anyway, let's go on. But it's a good anime. That's my favorite anime, but it's a good anime. I don't know, she's beef. Oh yeah, they have the ripped. What's her name again? She's like the killer cell. This is the badass ripped lady. Yeah, they have this like badass, warrior woman, right? and she's like, I don't know, Killer Cell or like Badass T Cell Power or something. She has some weird name, yeah. She's supposed to be like the strongest, warrior cell or something, and she has like, Badass Katana or Fighting Dagger and so on, yeah. Yeah, she's the kind of ripped badass lady, and then they also have they're muscular guys, the other Killer Cells, yeah. But she's the best one, I think. She's like the strongest one. Behind her, that's the weaker. Yeah, I mean, getting the other ones later. This anime. Actually, I don't know what this. Some kind of weird. What is this then? Okay, it's like actually interesting. If it's 2 hours, so this is Attack on Titan, and it's like what 2 hours for 59 episodes? What is this? What is this? So, of course, we all know Attack on Titan, like Shingeki no Kyojin. But this thing here, how can this seems really crazy. So, this is, some kind of movie, right? Where you're showing, here this happened, and this guy betrayed him, and, Eren is this guy. But 59 episodes in 2 hours. That's like, how many minutes is that? So, an episode, without opening and ending, is about 20 minutes. So, that is 20 times, let's say 60 then, right? 1,200 minutes, so minus 60, so 1,140 minutes. Yeah, this is gonna be crazy bad. I can't see this being good at all. It's like 1,140 minutes roughly, something like that. And they make it in 2 hours. It's crazy. Like it's crazy. They're gonna have to summarize. It's like a tenth of that. So they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to summarize like 10% of the time frame in like it's crazy, like it's impossible. What's gonna be like a slideshow? It's like this thing. It's gonna be someone being like, Eren killed this guy. Next page, Ryder did this shit, or Bertold did it. Then Mikasa went crazy. Armin did stuff too. And then his father showed it the basement key. It's gonna be like this, right? It's gonna be. Like, how are they gonna make this happen? This sounds insane. Look at that. 15 episode in 2 hours. That sounds crazy. The basement happened, and then in the basement it was a photo, and then this beast titan appeared, and then this mounting, and then Gabby appeared in the end and was like, I'm the new character. So yeah, I don't know. How are they gonna do this? I have no idea how this be possible to do. Unless you basically summarize every episode in like a few minutes, right? So you're gonna have, I don't know. It feels like, have you seen, this is popular clip on YouTube many years ago. Someone did like One Piece in 30 minutes, something like that. And it's like, One Piece, like 700 episodes, 30 minutes. It's like, it's just like, this guy appeared, Kizaru, this guy, Yimba, yeah, it's like, it's impossible to watch them. Because like, it shows you like 500 characters appearing. Yeah, it's like one new character per second, basically. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of funny to watch if you've seen it, right? But it's like, it doesn't give you any sense, right? For that matter, though, I have not said it here because I'm forgetful, I suppose. This anime is delayed, right? I cannot confirm it. It does me crazy, right? Everyone is like, Attack on Titan is gonna be delayed because obviously with the with the whole issue, right? Everything being delayed. But Attack on Titan, when you try to search for that, no one has confirmed that it's delayed, nor has someone confirmed that it's not delayed. Which I don't understand. Because usually the companies would be like, yes, we are sorry, it's gonna air next season, right? Because of obviously the issue we all know about. But they haven't. But what I know, I can't find. I tried today and yesterday to find it. I cannot find a single line, a comment from the producers saying that, but yes, it is delayed, right? Nor can I find them saying that it's not delayed. So everyone assumes it's delayed, but no one has been confirmed. I think it's super strange. It's super strange. But yeah, I mean, yeah, same with the One Piece stuff, but even worse. But the One Piece stuff, I've seen them all, of course. Obviously, I'm a One Piece, huge One Piece fan. It's one of my all-time favorite, manga and so on. Yeah, I've seen the Alabasta one and Drum Island one in movies. I think they work okay, decently in One Piece because they're basically taking like the 10 or 20 episodes, kind of like the in the One Piece movies, they basically take the 10 most important part of like Alabasta and make them into a movie and make it better quality. I think it kind of works. That being said, though, right, in the One Piece movies, when they take in chronicle One Piece movies, they are assuming you have seen the previous part up there, right? So they're taking out like a piece of One Piece and making a move of that, shortening it down, right? And it's not perfect, but it's like at least it makes so more sense. But again, they're assuming you have seen the part up to that point, right? This movie here is gonna try to summarize from episode 1. So they're gonna have to reveal the people are living in a village. And here this mom died, oh no, and then the Smile Titan appeared and she's evil, and yeah, they have to do everything. Like I can see someone narrating this for 2 hours, explaining everything. But yeah, that would be funny if they tried to do One Piece in one movie. 900 episodes. One Piece, episode 1 to Wano in one episode. It would be like, it literally would be someone like me being like, and then Shororo says a clown appeared, and then Big Mom is evil, and then the flamingo flowed in and saved them, but then this appeared, and then this guy appeared, and then you know what? She betrayed him, but then Law was like, I saw your betrayal, and then Bellamy is like, oh, and this guy was his brother, but actually the other brother, and then this thing appeared. It'd be kind of that, right? Yeah. It actually be kind of funny to try to do that in One Piece. Try to explain everything in like 1 hour. Try to really sit and explain One Piece in 1 hour. And then of course just throw, screens, images of people appearing. And then this guy appeared, and then the bird appeared, and then this happened, and then yeah, like, it would just be insane, like it would be impossible. But yeah, I'm very surprised they haven't said anything. Like I really wish the company would be like, yeah, it's delayed. So it's supposed to air this season, right? But they haven't. I mean, I assume it's not, because they're not saying anything about it. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's probably the narration. Yeah, it's telling. Yeah. But I hope it's like I'm doing it. It's super fast. They're like, Eren, Mikasa, Armin, Mikasa in love. Eren, is it love? Is it some kind of weird slave thing? Who knows? It's love. Next character, Armin, parents died. This thing happened. Armin, very intelligent, very smart boy. Go on. This guy, Annie, very beautiful woman, badass fighter, fall trainer. Next character, Jean, really cool, risky character, pragmatic, kind of maybe evil, maybe not. Go on. This girl, Ymir, probably in love with Zoria, she's lesbian, probably, let's go on. It's like, Potato Girl, really cool, Sasha, she's a cool voice actor, she's like a man, cool, let's go on. Connie, he's kind of playing the normal guy, let's go on. It's like, there's a big, everyone died, let's go on. Like, that's one thing too, in things like that, everyone dies, right, except it was the main character, so like, here's Levi, he has 10 friends, they're all dead now. That's how it would be funny, because it'd be like, here's Levi's crew. None of the name matters because they all died in this episode. Right? That's how you can make some time though, because you will see like, here is Levi and his, the elite squad, right? They all died. Let's go on. Levi survived though. Here's Irvin, they all died too. Let's go on. So that's how you would do it. You would just be like, they all gonna die anyway. I'm not gonna mention any dead characters. I'm not gonna mention anyone that are gonna die. Here's Mom, she's dead. Let's go on. Oh my god, it'd be hilarious. Okay, actually, you know what? Can I change it here? Open library editor. Oh man, this is weird. How do I edit it? Have to log in for that? Oh, super annoying. I also put it in green. I was like, let's watch it, just to see how crazy it is. When it's out? 61 days from now. That's interesting though. Okay, so if this is true, let's back to this is main theory. If this is true though, 61 days until this movie that is chronically explaining what happened between 1 to 4, right? The interval of 1 to 4. Obviously this movie will suck because it's like crazy amount of episodes, but doesn't that tell us that season 4 won't be out in at least 61 days? That I think makes sense, right? Like, who would make this movie if it's supposed to, make people be able to watch season 4, right? Because it's a movie you make so people can, catch up and watch in the next season, right? I don't see it. I think this to me actually kind of, I would say confirms, but I think it makes sense that season 4 is out in less, after this, right? It can't be out in less than these days. But that being said, that would be in the middle of the next season, in 2 months. So this is out in 2 months. I think season 4 should be out in the winter, right? Like in 3 months, 4 months from now. That probably makes sense. Like it has to be out next after this thing. Maybe. But that for me is like a reasonable assumption from seeing this timer. That is, if this is coming in 2 months from now, that would be like week 6 or 5 of next season, which probably means that then again the season won't be out into the winter, right? Because you can start like in the middle of the next season. That sounds crazy. Never heard about that. And that being said, though, one thing I'm pretty sure of is that there is also going to be a part 2, right? So when season 4 starts, it will likely be season 4 part 1, 10 to episodes, and that's going to be another like half-year break, maybe, and then, part 2. So I don't think they're going to end it in the next, when they start adding it. Not at all. I think it's going to be 2 different parts. Not necessarily like some episode, but I think it's going to be 2 different parts as well. Anyway, let's go on. Kimi wa Kanata. So, your name, no, but like, Kimi wa Naima, yeah, your, I don't know, honestly. I will admit I didn't spend much time looking up the movie. It's a new movie too, so it's probably a good movie. I will give it like, fantasy movie, romance, yeah. This though, I don't know, yeah. I'm a little lazy. This is of course another sad work, yeah. This is, I'm a big fan. I'm a Digimon, I'm an old man, right? So of course I grew up on Digimon. I was pretty old when I was like teenager Digimon, Yes, definitely Your Name vibes, right? From Kimi wa Kanata. It's probably why it's called that name, right? So kind of reference that older anime. But, yeah, Digimon, older, when they're grown up, gotta watch that stuff, right? When they're like, no idea what this is. Another Ben thing again. They had a Ben show, was that last year? I think this is the same version. I dropped that show. I didn't think, because BAM is a very old anime, and it did like a new. Yeah, this is like the movie of the new version, like the 5th version. It's a very old show about vampires. High School Fleet. It sounds cool though. Wave. Ooh, nice. Pretty Boy Surfing. You gotta watch stuff. Come on. Yeah, I think I've seen the Digimon stuff. Yeah, I think it's good too. And then this is on more Wave. Okay, so it's like. Not too many movies on sudden what here in the bottom here. Oh, this though. I missed talking about earlier. I didn't know it was coming because I'm being lazy here. I really like, Magnificent Kobatani. It's like a super underrated show. I mean, Christ, it's so good battle show. I'm like the only guy that likes the show, but it's so good battles. I'm like the only guy that likes the show. It's a freaking awesome battle show. No one's watched except me. I'm the only guy watching it, but it's a freaking awesome show. You people are crazy, but it's also so. Whoa, no idea. Shiny show though, yeah, Beijing. Legend definition. Whatever. I wanna see if it's more etchy stuff, whatever, right? Whatever, yeah. Let's go after the OVAs. Last thing, guys, OVAs. What is in the OVAs? This is etchy now. OVAs is always etchy. See? It's always etchy. When you get to OVAs, it's always like, slime, sumo episode. Onsen episode when Rimuru is naked fighting the other characters. It's always. Have you seen the slime movie? The first one is like the beach episode, right? Yeah, beach episode, I think. That's the first way. Second way is the sumo fight. We had to do the Kenyo sumo, like with the butts, right? Yeah. So it's always like every damn slime movie. Maybe not the latest one, but still kind of. But especially the first two are so etchy, right? They're so etchy. And the thing is that when you do an OVA, you can also be less censorship because you watch on TV. So as OVAs, when I was a kid, right, kittens or what, OVAs used to be really brutal, right? But today OVAs are usually more etchy because they can show more, stuff, right? So I like the the hot spring OVA. That was crazy when he turned into shampoo and they were touching all the girls as a shampoo. Like that OVA was crazy. Yuna of the hot spring. Oh my god, that OVA was insane. So basically, the Tanuki girl turns him into shampoo. And then all the girls are using that shampoo. So he's touching every oppai and every, lady stuff at the same time. Like an amazing horror episode. The OVA in Yuna and Osprey. It's crazy. It's the best thing ever. But yeah, Slime is very similar. They're like, oh, let's make another really etchy, yeah, so yet another OVA. And every time it's like beach episode, onsen episode. It's almost like the stupidest premise too. And sumo ass fighting and so on. Yeah, even at the hot spring OVA, it's gonna be crazy. They're so etchy. Look at this. I've already seen it though. Oh my god, it's so good. It is so good, guys. Isn't this over though? I mean, already released. I don't know what it is here, but obviously not link below here, but you can check my channel, right? I have already reacted to this movie, and it's freaking epic, okay? It's like a movie more on OVA, right? So this is actually a continuation on, you know, on Yoro's adventure of being the best harem guy ever. So this movie was epic, everyone, okay? Again, check my channel, right? This movie was epic. I mean, I laughed so much in the ending when they had this harem battle. Like, oh, I have the best harem. Oh, I have a bigger harem. And then Sunshine is like, look at my harem. They have this like massive harem battle. And you're hunting harem ladies everywhere. And I want to spoil too much, but it's like, god damn, the ending is so good. How Yoro's gonna pick the girl and he picks Sunshine basically. And he gets the boy instead. Because when I watched episode 7, I think it is, of the season, I called it too. It's like, man, I think he's more yaoi for Sunshine than actually with the girls. He's like, I'm gonna pick my best friend, bro, best. So he's still good, and he's trying to get all the ladies to be his girlfriend at the same time. He's trying to get the actual, you know, hentai harem ending right, where he's dating all of them at the same time and so on. Like, you can be Sasakwa, you can be my Friday girlfriend. It's so good. It is so goddamn good. And the guy who wrote Harem Squad helping him and so on. And the little girl. And oh man, this is one of the best OVAs ever. But it really isn't like, it's called OVA here, but it's much more fair to call it a movie, right? Because it actually is. I mean, it says that yes, it wasn't released on the big theater, but OVAs are usually, as I mentioned, with slime. It's like, you know, oh, it's like going to the beach and they're kind of itchy. But this is actually just continuation on the anime, right? So this is actually episode 13, 14, 15, and not just like a random ecchi episode. It actually has a real storyline. It's really, really good. But yeah, this is one of the best ecchi I've watched. It's actually, I would say easily one of my favorite stuff this year. Easily, yeah. Urosuki's movie. But actually, I also had Urosuki's my top 10 last year, so I like Urosuki. But yeah, that OVA movie thing was really good. Just great pacing and everything. Had everything. Really good episode. Twists and turns and so on. But most OVAs, of course, are, yeah, Strike Blood is gonna be freaking ecchi. You see the female parts. You know, it's like ecchi, right? And it's gonna be more ecchi. Some random game thing I don't care about. Oh, this is definitely gonna be ecchi. If you ever seen this show, Setokai Yakendomo, she's like, oh yes, I'm addicted to that stuff. This anime, if you ever seen it, right? It's an anime about how to say it. A dirty-minded school president girl, and a poor boy going to the school, and she's always having like, oh, if I write this thing, I don't get this image. Lame. Why are you censoring my desire for? And yeah, she's a weirdo. She's a crazy weirdo. Yesterday? Like yesterday? Okay, it's out already. Interesting. Maybe we can get it today now. But anyway, yeah, it's a very, very ecchi show. If you haven't seen it, I don't think it's the best comedy ever, but I think it's a pretty good comedy show. The anime is, I think it's funny. I mean, I would say that Urosuki, you know, I think Urosuki is much funnier. But Urosuki, I think, is like a really good comedy. This is like a 10 out of 10 comedy, in my opinion, Urosuki. It's one of the best horror I've seen in my life. It's a parody in horror, but I really love Urosuki. I really love it. This anime, I think, is good. I guess a good anime, but it's not Urosuki. But anyway, so it's a good anime. I recommend seeing it. It's quite it's a lot of, you know, ecchi jokes and so on. And yeah, both of these girls are kind of weird. And they're like, oh, like when the main character is sick at home, and he's like lying home in bed, right? She appears, you know, the president, this woman here. She comes to his house with ecchi. She's like, oh, hey, boy, here's some stuff so you can, you know, take care of yourself. And you're sick. And he's like, what's wrong with you? You pervert senpai, right? And then she leaves, or then his sister comes in and he's like, oh, here's Onishan, I got some hentai for you. He's like, oh my god, you damn pervert. Yeah, so that kind of life is his life, right? Actually, his sister, I think, it's first. Yeah, I think his sister is first, and then the president appears, and you see another hentai. So you get 2 hentai books from them. It's a weird show. So it's a really weird ecchi show. Kind of a little bit like, you know, what's it called them again? Socks, yeah, a little bit of that. Shimonetta. And obviously, this actually should be good because this show is so censored. Docu hen stuff, hen energy. This show is so censored, right? I mean, I know there's like a censored version coming, right? But this is an OVA, so it's probably gonna be even less censored because obviously, as I mentioned, OVAs are less censored. The show has huge lighting, you know, it's like a piss for lighting censored all the time. I haven't actually watched this show since episode 4, I think, because I felt that it's not that funny. You're there for the ecchi stuff, and then it's like censorship. So you have to wait for, of course, the version. But again, this OVA here is not the episode, but it's even less censored than that. So yeah, this censorship is crazy because they are like lightning and it's like this like censorship. It's kind of like that, honestly. I mean, if you ever played, you know how Sony has went after some etchy games, right? And they kind of do the light, the sunlight kind of thing, right? This anime does that, but it's like time tense. So a girl is like, oh no, and then it's like, you know, censorship. It's kind of like this, yeah, and it's like super. It's like that. It's super crazy, super annoying to watch, honestly. So I stopped watching it. I'm waiting for the censored version. But this OVA then is gonna be probably very, very dirty because it's an OVA. So anyway, let's go on. Obviously, I watched that thing. Dragon's Dogma is probably pretty good. Netflix original, yeah, let's watch that shit of that thing. And this thing though is out today, baby! Oh my god, Golden Kamuy! Oh, I don't want to watch. Oh, I probably have to wait a few days until it gets on internet. But yeah, come on, like I have spent an hour saying that Golden Kamuy is the best thing ever. So freaking yeah! And I've seen, of course, the other Golden Kamuy OVAs in between, right? But this is probably today with the manga, so it's probably maybe it's out tomorrow then. Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm getting some Golden Kamuy stuff. I actually knew it was coming, but yeah, today I didn't know what date it was, but yeah, it's been amazing. Right? And the OVAs, as I mentioned earlier too, the OVAs are really good too because they can focus on all this huge cast of cool characters, you know, so they can focus on the psychopath guy that killed his father or so on, or this woman that killed her husband, and they have so many crazy people to focus on, or so they can focus on those characters in the OVA. If I don't know what to be about, but they have the potential to spend that time on the different, you know, commanders of the two, and then so the betrayal and so on. There's so many character backstories to tell, right? They have the cross-dresser character, yeah, and so on, right? All these characters you can focus on. So amazing show. More etchy stuff. Oh, yeah, then interesting. Netflix show, whatever. I'm just looking for the etchy stuff. Okay, Tenshin Moyo. I love Tenshin Moyo. If you ever see my show before, I keep saying that Tenshin Moyo, right, was one of the original animes I grew up with, right? Tenshin Moyo was one of the first. Yeah, because when I was a kid, we had like Sailor Moon, we had Tenshin Moyo, basically, right? Because Sailor Moon was something adding on TV. Actually, Tenshin Moyo was before that, and we had Star Singer. And Tenshin Moyo was on the VHS tape, right? So, because it was always been a classic OVA anime, Tenshin Moyo was like the first show you could buy in my home country. Like literally. Star Singer again aired on TV, right? So my cousin had recorded Star Singer on TV. So that's why I was Star Singer. But Tenshin Moyo was the first thing they actually basically sold on these VHS tapes. Before you had Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball and so on, whatever on TV, right? So, and then Sailor Moon was very early then. Afterwards, so I'll say that, but I grew up with Tenshin Moyo, so when I think about anime, I do think about, you know, ecchi and oppai and waifus from space and so on. That's anime for me. Anime for me really is that you have a wife that's an alien girl and so on. That's, you know, how it's supposed to be. As I mentioned in another harem video I talked about, I felt that harems are a little, I'll say boring, but I think that harem for a period was a little boring, like 10 years ago or so, because there were too many harems where everyone was just, you know, human and so on. And then you had the Monster Musume stuff and so on about 5 years ago, it's the Watcher series, all right. And then those harems become popular again, you know, monster girl harems. So I love that because Tenshin Moyo again was a show that was a lot more focused on, you know, alien girls, right, and monster girls and powers and so on. So I think that's what I want in the harem show. I want the harem girls to be preferably be, you know, aliens or monsters and so on. But yeah, Tenshin Moyo for me is just amazing. It really is. I love Tenshin Moyo. I'm just quickly going through it here, guys, because I have a meeting now in 3 minutes, so I'm gonna cut it off here. But yeah, so that is, guys, that's the anime guide, Ultimate Anime Guide 2024, right? Again, Golden Kamuy is the best thing, nothing else matters. Some SG OVA stuff, more some slime stuff, man, I wait for that stuff. And again, I think interesting that fact. Attack on Titan, I don't think it's gonna air right, and as I said there, that movie, that's probably gonna be crap, but that movie is coming in 60 days from now, so I cannot see the anime airing before those 60 days, because the movie is supposed to be connect you to that season, right? So I think that's a good indication that the movie is gonna be before season 4, right? And that will be the middle of next season, so I'm guessing again, right, that a winter, I think 2021 winter, I think is more reasonable, right? But yeah, the alien girl, it's a classic anime, you know, or Mecha, Shobit and so on. But anyway, love talking to you guys, but now I have to really go here before I meet my meeting here. So yeah, see you guys and have a great day. Sometimes I look at the mouse over there, but it's here. So alright, see you guys.